So as we communicate with Him, it actually encourages real community with other people. He is such a good God. Welcome back to the NIV Application Bible Podcast. Okay, I want you to hang with me. When I tell you that this one's going to be on Leviticus, some of you, I know you're going to be like, I'm going to get a snack. Stay with us. When I used to hear Leviticus, I also would recoil a bit internally. I thought, Leviticus, it's about the law and scabs and legalistic ritual. Y'all, it's so not about legalistic ritual. If you actually read the context of Leviticus, you'll see it's actually about having a love relationship with God. It's about this life-giving, real relationship. It's not about ritual. I'm going to read you about ritual from chapter 7 to prove it to you. Okay, this is Leviticus chapter 7, beginning with verse 11. These are the regulations for the fellowship offering anyone may present to the Lord. If they offer it as an expression of thankfulness, then along with this thank offering, they are to offer thick loaves made without yeast and with olive oil mixed in, thin loaves made without yeast and brushed with oil. I'm sorry, I got to take a rabbit trail there. Anything that talks about bread, hot bread and olive oil, how can that be boring? You got to love the little carb. I'm sorry, I'm hungry now. And thick loaves of the finest flour, well kneaded and with oil mixed in. Along with their fellowship offering of thanksgiving, they are to present an offering with thick loaves of bread made with yeast. They are to bring one of each kind as an offering, a contribution. To the Lord it belongs to the priest who splashes the blood of the fellowship offering against the altar. The meat of their fellowship offering of thanksgiving must be eaten on the day it is offered. They must leave none of it until morning. So here's the deal. And I'm taking just a little liberty with the Hebrew here. If you lived in this era and you loved God and you had something to say thank you to God for, so let's just say you got a job promotion, you had a healthy baby, you had a harvest and it had rained and so you had something to eat, then you would go and give God a thank offering. It involves bread made with yeast. So you'd have, just think focaccia bread made without yeast. So just think pita. You had thick bread, you had thin bread. You'd bring that as an offering. You also brought meat along with the carbs. If you didn't have a lot of money, you might bring a sheep or a goat. If you had a lot of bank, you would bring a cow. All you have to do is Google how much meat, edible meat, you get from a sheep or a goat, somewhere between 30 and 40 pounds, or a cow up to 500 pounds, and you'll see what they brought to the Lord as a thank offering, all that bread, and at least 30 pounds of meat. So the priests that were officiating at wherever you brought the thank offering, they would butcher the animal. They would put the offals in a ceremonial bowl. They would splash the blood against the altar. And then you give some of the bread and some of the meat to the priest. And then you took the rest of the bread and the meat. And you gotta see this last verse of that passage, verse 15. The meat of their fellowship offering of thanksgiving must be eaten on the day it is offered. Can't leave any until the morning. It drives me nuts when people say the Bible is boring. Do you know what that means? Leviticus 7 is a party primer. Just stop and think if you just had a sheep for your Thanksgiving offering. I'm gonna go to temple. I'm gonna say thank you, Yahweh, that my baby was born healthy, that I got a job promotion, that we have enough food to eat, and you would present that thank offering to the Lord, well, then you've got 30 pounds of meat left to eat before the sun comes up the next morning. Ain't no way one family can eat 30 pounds of meat, much less 500 pounds of meat if you brought a cow. What does that imply? You've got to invite people. You got to invite the neighborhood. Y'all, I had a Thanksgiving offering because of what God has done for me, how he's blessed my family. Come on, we got tons of carbs, we got tons of meat, and it all has to be eaten before tomorrow morning. That's the whole point of rituals, y'all. If we do rituals in a performative, transactional nature, they actually separate us from God. but ritual done right, with Holy Spirit, with a heart of gratitude, it actually pulls us closer into a real relationship with a God who loves us more than we can possibly ask or imagine. And it actually encourages us to have relationship with other people. This is all about community. This isn't boring. This isn't rigid. This is life-giving, and that's evidenced, of course, by the application note. Listen to this about Leviticus. Rituals, including Christian rituals of baptism and the Lord's Supper or communion, transcend the boundary between the seen and unseen realms. So does prayer. We're not completely cut off from God through prayer and ritual. Think of ritual as relationship. Through prayer and ritual, it is as though we can reach out and touch God. When Jesus came, people could touch him because he came without a bubble to isolate him from the moral and physical disease of the fallen human race. His death and resurrection make it possible for us to be restored to face-to-face communion with God, so that rituals will no longer be needed. And so until we meet him face to face, the psalmist says, when we do, it will be enough. Be no more crying and no more dying. But until then, he's given us a way to communicate with him. And what's so unbelievable is he even thought about our hearts here. So as we communicate with him, it actually encourages real community with other people. He is such a good God. This love story, y'all, it's the antidote to loneliness, to isolation, because this is not a rule book. It's not a collection of benign morality tales. It's not something to memorize so other people will think we're smart or we've accrued a lot of information about God. This at its core is a love story. Lean into it. Even the parts that you might have in the past thought were boring, lean into it. It'll change your life and it'll encourage you to be in real community with other people.